All right, question 19. In a right triangle, one angle measures x degree, where sine x degree equal to 4 or 5. What is cosine 90 degree minus x degree? Okay, so this one is a trigonometry question. Okay, so we're dealing with the trig function. We have sine, cosine, tangent. Okay, so let's do a quick review. Remember the trig function, they give us the ratio of two sides in the right triangle. Okay, so if we have sine, okay, sine of an angle theta, okay, sine theta is always the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. Okay, so opposite from the angle divided by the longest side in the right triangle, which is the hypotenuse. Cosine is the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. All right, adjacent side is the side right next to the angle. And again, hypotenuse is always the longest side. And lastly, we have tangent theta is opposite over adjacent. Okay, we want to make sure we know these definitions. So there's a mnemonic to help us remember is SOHCAHTOA. Right, so sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and then tangent is opposite over adjacent. So SOHCAHTOA. Right, SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so let's look at this question. Right, now we know the definition. We have to be able to apply that to solve a question like this. So if we don't have a picture, let's draw out the diagram first. Okay, so if we have a right triangle like this, right? Let's just say this is our angle x. Okay, so x degree right there. Then we know sine of x equal to 4 or 5. And remember, sine is opposite or hypotenuse. Okay, so if sine is 4 or 5, and then 4 is the opposite then. Okay, on the top is the opposite, and 5 is the hypotenuse. So we can actually label this triangle, right? So sine is opposite or hypotenuse. So opposite should be 4. So opposite from where x is, this side should be 4. And then the hypotenuse is always the longest side in the right triangle. So that would be 5 right there. All right. So we have this labeled. Well, if we wanted, we could solve for the bottom side there. Right? If necessary, we can solve using the Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But for this question, I think we actually don't need to solve it because what we're looking for is cosine of 90 minus x. Well, 90 minus x, so which angle are we talking about? Right, this is kind of hard to see, right? What are they talking about? So if this angle right here on the bottom left corner, and that's x degree, then 90 minus x actually refer to the other angle up top. So it'll be this angle right here. Okay, this is 90 minus x because these two angles, they add to 90, right? Because we have a right angle there, that's 90 degree. So the other two acute angle, they add to 90 degrees. So this one of them is x, the other one's 90 minus x. Okay, whatever x is, 90 minus x give us the other angle. So 90 minus x, they're talking about the other angle up top. So we're actually looking at the angle up top. So let's just focus on this angle, the 90 minus x there, right? This angle. So we're looking for the cosine of this angle. So the cosine of this angle, so now we're switching angles. So the opposite and adjacent will also be different. So cosine is adjacent or hypotenuse. The adjacent side for this angle is the 4, right? Because this is right next to the angle. This is the adjacent side. And 5 is still the hypotenuse. Right, so now the bottom side will be the opposite side, right? Because we're switching angles. So we're looking at from the top angle there. Right, so cosine of this angle, right, which will be what, adjacent or hypotenuse, right, will still be 4 or 5, so it doesn't change. Okay, So that should be our answer. So cosine of this angle should be 4 over 5. And that is our final answer for this question.